Day 200. Psalm 23-25. A Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures, he leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul, he guides me in the paths of righteousness for the sake of his name. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. A Psalm of David. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and all who dwell therein. For he has founded it upon the seas and established it upon the waters. Who may ascend the hill of the Lord? Who may stand in his holy place? He who has clean hands and a pure heart, who does not lift up his soul to an idol or swear deceitfully. He will receive blessing from the Lord and vindication from the God of his salvation. Such is the generation of those who seek him, who seek your face, O God of Jacob. Selah, lift up your heads, O gates. Be lifted up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may enter. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O gates. Be lifted up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may enter. Who is he, this King of glory? The Lord of hosts, he is the King of glory. Selah of David. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul, in you, my God, I trust. Do not let me be put to shame, do not let my enemies exult over me. Surely none who wait for you will be put to shame, but those who are faithless without cause will be disgraced. Show me your ways, O Lord, teach me your paths. Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation, all day long I wait for you. Remember, O Lord, your compassion and loving devotion, for they are from age to age. Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my rebellious acts, remember me according to your loving devotion, because of your goodness, O Lord. Good and upright is the Lord, therefore he shows sinners the way. He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them his way. All the Lord's ways are loving and faithful to those who keep his covenant and his decrees. For the sake of your name, O Lord, forgive my iniquity, for it is great. Who is the man who fears the Lord? He will instruct him in the path chosen for him. His soul will dwell in prosperity, and his descendants will inherit the land. The Lord confides in those who fear him, and reveals his covenant to them. My eyes are always on the Lord, for he will free my feet from the mesh. Turn to me and be gracious, for I am lonely and afflicted. The troubles of my heart increase, free me from my distress. Consider my affliction and trouble, and take away all my sins. Consider my enemies, for they are many, and they hate me with vicious hatred. Guard my soul and deliver me, let me not be put to shame, for I take refuge in you. May integrity and uprightness preserve me, because I wait for you. Redeem Israel, O God, from all its distress. Acts 21 verses 18-40. The next day Paul went in with us to see James, and all the elders were present. Paul greeted them and recounted one by one the things that God had done among the Gentiles through his ministry. When they heard this, they glorified God. Then they said to Paul, You see, brother, how many thousands of Jews have believed, and all of them are zealous for the law. But they are under the impression that you teach all the Jews who live among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, telling them not to circumcise their children or observe our customs. What then should we do? They will certainly hear that you have come. Therefore do what we advise you. There are 4 men with us who have taken a vow. Take these men, purify yourself along with them, and pay their expenses so they can have their heads shaved. Then everyone will know that there is no truth to these rumors about you, but that you also live in obedience to the law. As for the Gentile believers, we have written to them our decision that they must abstain from food sacrificed to idols, from blood, from the meat of strangled animals, and from sexual immorality. So the next day Paul took the men and purified himself along with them. Then he entered the temple to give notice of the date when their purification would be complete and the offering would be made for each of them. When the 7 days were almost over, some Jews from the province of Asia saw Paul at the temple. They stirred up the whole crowd and seized him, crying out, Men of Israel, help us! This is the man who teaches everywhere against our people and against our law and against this place. Furthermore, he has brought Greeks into the temple and defiled this holy place. For they had previously seen Trophimus the Ephesian with him in the city, and they assumed that Paul had brought him into the temple. The whole city was stirred up, and the people rushed together. They seized Paul and dragged him out of the temple, and at once the gates were shut. While they were trying to kill him, the commander of the Roman regiment received a report that all Jerusalem was in turmoil. Immediately he took some soldiers and centurions and ran down to the crowd. When the people saw the commander and the soldiers, they stopped beating Paul. The commander came up and arrested Paul, ordering that he be bound with 2 chains. Then he asked who he was and what he had done. Some in the crowd were shouting one thing, and some another. And since the commander could not get at the truth because of the uproar, he ordered that Paul be brought into the barracks. When Paul reached the steps, he had to be carried by the soldiers because of the violence of the mob. For the crowd that followed him kept shouting, "Away with him!" As they were about to take Paul into the barracks, he asked the commander, "May I say something to you? Do you speak Greek?" He replied, "Aren't you the Egyptian who incited a rebellion some time ago and led 4,000 members of the assassins into the wilderness?" But Paul answered, "I am a Jew from Tarsus in Cilicia, a citizen of no ordinary city. Now I beg you to allow me to speak to the people." Having received permission, Paul stood on the steps and motioned to the crowd. A great hush came over the crowd, and he addressed them in Hebrew.